And welcome to today's webinar. I'll be talking about the Birom Nation, its culture, and its heritage. Okay, and a brief introduction. The Plateau State of Central Nigeria, which is accommodating the Birom people, has one of the coldest climates, and its elevated land area of about 4,250 feet. The state is endowed with fertile soil and favorable weather for humans, plants, and also animals. The Birom people are one out of about 54 tribes on the plateau, and they have an interesting history and a rich cultural heritage evident in their nature of interactions, in their beliefs, in their cultural traditions, their distinct cuisines and peculiar names, not forgetting their hospitality and their general way of life. It is the only tribe on the plateau occupying about 4 local government areas of the state, which is about 50% of the entire state population, estimated at about 2 million, and also has a significant population across its borders in a neighboring state, which is Kaduna State of Nigeria, particularly the Sanga local government area. So I'll try to talk about the location, the population, the leadership style, the occupation, the food, that is the cuisines, a few festivals, and a few innovations and their general way of life. So these people who are located in central Nigeria, Plateau State to be precise, are predominantly in 4 local government areas, like I mentioned: Riom local government area, Barkin-Ladi local government area, and just south. Although some Birom people are also found in southern Kaduna, like I mentioned earlier. Then talking about the Birom population, the Birom people have an estimated population of over 2 million spread across those 4 local government areas under 12 districts. And these people are being led by a paramount ruler who is referred to as the Bongom Jos. Presently, we have Jacob Gangbuba as the present Bongom of Jos. The people revere him a lot, believing he is a representative of God on earth. And he rules alongside his kings, chiefs in council, and then ward heads. In Birom native language, we call them the Dagom Rui, the Gom Rui, the Dagom, and then the Gom, and then the Damajays respectively. And I mentioned earlier that they have about 12 districts, among which are the Du district, the Gel district, the Vang district, Bachi district, Riom, Foron, and Rob districts, respectively. This is the image of the present Bongom Jos, Da Jacob Gangbuba. Then their occupation. The Birom people were hunters and gatherers too, like most African societies before civilization. But now predominantly farmers. And you know, with the advent of civilization, Christianity, education, a lot has changed. You have the Birom people as teachers, lecturers like myself, you have politicians, you have people in different professional fields because of education and civilization. This is a picture of a Birom woman farming, which is their predominant occupation. And then the Birom people are predominantly Christians. Before the advent of Christianity, the Birom people revered a supreme being, whom they refer to as Dagui. And Dagui simply means source of being, who was responsible for mankind, but was invisible. So the chief priest, whom they refer to as Gomkwit, was usually an intercessor, a go-between. So after Christianity, or with the advent of Christianity, after the Birom people widely accepted Christ, they realized that this supreme being is still the Dagwe, but at this point, they don't need an intercessor or a middle person or a go-between. So the mode of worship and their beliefs, their religion, everything has changed with the advent of Christianity. So you have people even going into missions as a major thing. Okay, and the Birom people are also known for the mouth-watering and the exotic cuisines from indigenously grown crops and vegetables. We have crops like the cocoyam, we have the fonio, which we call acha, the risga, which is a finger-like tuber, and then the maize, the millet, guinea corn, the benny seeds of two categories. We have the white one, we have the black one, which we use for either soup or we use to garnish meat and other things like beans. The Birom people are also farmers and they cultivate things like the water yam, which is mostly popular among the Igbos in the East, but the Birom people have that too. Then sweet potatoes, then pumpkin, and so many other things, which would be displaying a few subsequently. The Birom people love to eat healthy because they grow a lot of healthy things. Amongst the many things I have mentioned, from the fonio, we can make things like gote, which is a delicacy that you use green veggies, and then you could make things like the tuwo from the acha, the pudding, which is becoming very popular around Nigeria as a country. And then we could make it as the refined or processed couscous, garnishing it with different kinds of vegetables as you want to your taste. Then from the maize, from the millet, from the guinea corn, we make a locally made drink we call kunu or the gruel. And then interestingly, the Plateau people or the Birom people also grow olives, the black species of the olives, which they also process oil out of it. And the oil is also very medicinal. It could be consumed, it could be applied on the skin, on the hair, considering the kind of weather we have on the plateau, which could be harsh during the harmattans. And then this is a display of what the fonio looks like. And this is an image of gote, the popular food of the Birom people. Then the Biroms have a festival, or they have festivals, among which I'll be mentioning a few. And these festivals are usually very significant. They either usher in the rains, or they usher in harvest time or special celebrations, all to thank God at specific points. But the most popular among the ones I have mentioned, which is the Zembirum Festival, the Mandiang Festival, the Baju Festival, the Vwana Festival, and the Urumchun Festival. The most popular is the Zembirum Festival, which is usually done yearly, is an annual festival, mostly around April, shortly before we usher the planting seasons. It is a festival usually to thank God and to pray, hoping that there's going to be plenty rain and bountiful harvest before the subsequent festivals can come up. And during this festival, it's actually a display of culture and different activities are being done, ranging from selecting a queen of the Birom land, which we call the Zere Birom, and then many competitions such as processing the fonio, which is one of our local crops, as fast as you can manually, and then preparing one of the delicacies, as I have mentioned earlier. So the Birom people of Plateau are also known for a peaceful and hospitable way of life. And they are very, very accommodating. And we can see that evident even in the fast growing population on the plateau, particularly in those local government areas that the Birom people are resident. And it is also evident to see how hospitable the Birom people can be or how peaceful they are, because they are in organized groups, various organized groups ranging from the youth group, the women group, and then educational groups, and so on and so forth. Among the few, I have the Bweda, which is the Birom Women Development Association, with a slogan, Nigon Nantiang Tangare Nuyo, which simply means a good attitude, peace, and then progress. Then the popular Nzembirom slogan, which is usually Sangal Tiang Unato Nare Nuyo, simply meaning peaceful coexistence, unity, and progress. So we have quite a number of them, as I have displayed on the slide. And then we have innovations too. The Birom people are usually known for their creativity. We don't like staying in one place. They farm and they produce a lot of things, and there's actually no waste with them. And from some of these innovations, we can see that the Birom people are believed to be the inventors of the xylophone. And then the xylophone is actually called kundung in Birom language, which is made from sticks and then horns of cow. And it makes a beautiful sound. It looks just exactly like the xylophone. And then the jew, which they make from straws, maize, like a fluid. And then it makes beautiful sounds too. Then what we call the yom, it looks exactly like a guitar, but it's made from a stick, strings, and then a calabash behind it. And then something similar to the yom is the kashak, which is made from cactus. Cactus plant is actually one of the symbols of the Birom people. When you go to Birom communities, you discover that the cactus plant is one of the most important plants. They use it to fence, they use it for demarcation, and it actually signifies growth and strength. So there's no Birom land you travel to without actually seeing the cactus as a plant. So this musical instrument is made from the cactus, a dry cactus, and then is cut into pieces to make a beautiful sound. Then having a fonio as one of our crops within the plateau and mostly in Birom land, we have been able to invent a thrashing machine for fonio to help the local women or to make it easy for them in processing fonio. So this is the summary of the Birom people, and these are images of warriors playing the locally made xylophone, like I mentioned earlier. You see how it looks? It has the cow horns and then the woods, and a person can play it, 2 persons can play it, or even 3. And then the locally made drum with hides and skin, that's creativity. So I just hope I'm within time. This is the little about the Birom people, the Birom nation, their culture, and then their heritage. Thank you very much.
Shall I go on?
Oh, thank you very much.
Sorry, I think I'm having network challenges.
We're not able to see some of those speaking about the Birom nation. Everybody, yes. So heading, can you go up? Can you stop? Ellen?
Did we lose Emmanuel? How do we go from here? Wait for him.
Prof, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It looks like we lost Emmanuel. I don't know
Yeah, I think
what we
so.
should do.
I'm having a little challenge over here too, so I don't know if he's experiencing same.
Yeah, I think his network was unstable.
So my internet went off. You think you can continue, please?
Do I start?
Hello, Bright. Dr. Bright.
Do I start?
Yes, yes, please do.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Good afternoon or good evening, everyone. For this opportunity, thank you very much for inviting me to speak on this forum. This is the topic given to me, and I hope I can contribute to this discussion. So my goal is to stimulate points we can discuss during this period. So my name is Bright Nwaru, and I am an associate professor at the Institute of Medicine, University of Gothenburg here in Sweden. And originally, I'm from Abia State in Nigeria. So that is my state in the country. Okay, I got one question that was sent during the registration, and it's the question is asking what are the prevailing narratives about Africa and the definite steps to change the narratives. So I put this question first because my discussion hopefully at the end should answer this question. I lost my dad in 2012, and I was in Nigeria and then went to Lagos after the burial. So I wanted to send a post to somewhere in Lagos. And I went to a kiosk like this. As you see, this is not a kiosk I went, but I went to a kiosk like this. And there is written to, and I went there to buy an envelope and so that I can post the letter. It's written at the entrance of the kiosk. It opens 8 a.m. And when I got there, it was around 7:50 or so. So I waited 8 a.m. It was not opened. And I waited for almost 45 minutes before the kiosk owner casually came and opened the kiosk. And so as he opened, there were other people standing with me there waiting for him. And these people went in. And as they went in, I was looking around to see if he has an envelope. I didn't see it, but I tried to ask him, do you have an envelope? He said yes. Then he went at the back of some items and then searched for the envelope, brought it and dusted it and gave it to me. So other people have been served. And then I called him. I said, this business you're doing, is it your source of living? He said, yes. So I asked him, how serious are you with it? How serious are you with this business? I'm very serious with it. I said, I'm not sure you're very serious. In the first place, you wrote 8 a.m. and you came here 9:45. And then I asked you of whether you have envelope, and you have to search for the envelope. You have it, but you have to search for it to get it out. So you have made 2 critical business mistakes. I'm not a business person, but if this is source of living, then you have to reorient yourself how you do this business. Keep the time, because if you fail in time, you fail in everything in your life. Time is so essential. He was listening to me quite keenly, and I said, as you entered your kiosk here, there were several people here. Some people like me may just come, they're in a hurry, and they just pop their eyes to see whether you have envelope, and not seeing it, they leave and you miss that business. Can't you take your envelope from the back of other items and put it here where people can see it? I'm not sure whether I communicated quite well with him, but once I got this topic, these are some of the things I was thinking about: innovation, creativity, nation building, excellence, doing things in the right way. So this is not the kind I spoke with anyway, failed in those. And if we are to progress as a people, there are things we need to think about. Time. Time is important, not just at individual level, but institution level and national level. If you miss something when the time has come, it will take you a long time to get through that. And also be careful the way we place things. How do we do this? Okay, let me move on. How Nokia went down. Everybody was aware of this Nokia phone and similar ones like it. But today, you rarely hear of Nokia phones. You hear of iPhones, you hear of Samsung and different other phones, which are nowadays smartphones. But before the smartphones came, Nokia was a brand that was leading. Nokia was a brand of phones, mobile phones, that was leading. I've lived in Finland before I moved to Sweden, and actually Nokia was so integrated that Nokia came from Nokia. The name Nokia is actually a town in Finland where it started. They have different things they were building before they went into electronics. But when the economic problem came in 2008, 2009, they moved to 2010 and so, Nokia went down. Nokia didn't go down because of the economic turbulence we had. Nokia went down because of what we are talking about today: innovation, creativity, insight, and foresight. When the iPhone, Steve Jobs and the other ones were working on these smartphones, the Nokia CEO of that time said, Nokia brand can never be undertaken out by anyone. because it is here to stay. So he didn't move to smartphone. And before he knew it, the flood of iPhone swept them out. Nokia was sold. Nokia belonged to Finland, but today Nokia is sold. Finland has lost it and never to get it back. Innovation, creativity, nation building, and foresight. Another story that is very important is Stephen Sarson. You can see he started in the 70s and 80s to design the camera we know today. Okay? And what has happened is that in 2009, he was given National Medal of Technology and Innovation. You can imagine how much time it took him to bring a camera to cover an event you're organizing. It, at that time, does not require one person. Several people have to come. But today, everybody has a phone, at least on, a camera, at least on their phone. And that is what has happened. It started with curiosity, failures came around, criticism. People say, guy, why are you carrying this around? You see what he had. But today, little smartphones can. But persistence leads to big endings. Innovation, creativity, nation building, and foresight. We're all scientists, and when I use science here, it's all encompassing. It includes whether you're a political scientist, whether you're a social scientist, whether you're a health scientist, whether you're a technology, whatever you call yourself. The goal here is why we do what we do within the four walls of the university or research institution. I like this definition so much, provided by UNESCO. Says that science is the greatest collective endeavor to ensure longer and healthier life, medicine to cure our disease, water to quench our thirst, helps us to grow our foods, energy, makes life more fun. The fact is that if you are within the four walls of the university and what you do is outside these basic needs, then you are not getting it right. And we can begin to ask the question, what are you doing? What is your motivation for what you do every day? What is your motivation to be a scientist? If what you do eventually does not have the goal of providing this, then it is problematic. You are not meeting the goal. This is what science should. I have had forums with many Africans across different places, and they're asking, why are you a scientist? Why are you a researcher? Why do you publish papers? And people say, well, to make my career, if you don't publish, you won't get promotion and things like that. I say, well, that is a misplaced agenda, actually. And that is why we'll get it wrong. Those things, promotion, career, are secondary to the ultimate goal. This is why we do what we do. And as Africans, we need to think in this direction. Science must respond to societal needs and global challenges. Science, technology, and innovation must drive our pursuit of more equitable and sustainable development. Science is the bedrock for societal development. There's no doubt about it. Many people have articulated it so that it is fair to emphasize the point that without scientific research, there is no nation building, no nation building, no institutional building. We waste our time. So science and research is the bedrock of and this has been the case. This has been the case of us as Africans. If you go to Wikipedia, you can see that Africa of yesteryears Africa of yesterday years was associated with lots of innovations that change or spur lots of development. I think there is a noise coming there. Can you mute people? Okay, great. So we see from mathematics to medicine to architecture to mining to metallurgy, astronomy, trade, Africa was the place. But that was yesteryears. You know, you think of where we are today, we cannot continue to be thinking of yesteryears we were there. Where are we today? Many nations have gone from nothing to something. But Africa looks like we have gone from something to nothing. This is Global Index of Human Development. In 1870, this is plotted. In 1870, you can see Africa in terms of human development looked like many of the continents in the world today. But in 2015, you can see that Africa has barely changed, while many other continents have moved on. So the more yellowish or lighter it is, the less there is human development. Okay. Life expectancy. This is in 2016. You can see Africa looking close to others. But in 2019, as a projection, you can see that Africa remains the baby that is carried on the back. Access to drinking water. In 1990, you can see this other continent, how they have moved and shrunk by providing access to drinking water, so that the number of people in many other nations that lack drinking water has quite reduced. But Africa is actually increasing in the number of those without drinking water. Those in extreme poverty, Africa is actually increasing, while other continents have almost eradicated poverty. Share of the population using internet. This is where we are all in 2017. You can see that is what we still struggle today. That some of us fall out of the core. Some of us cannot log in. Some of us cannot have clear calls because it is not doing well. So Africa, this is where we are. Secure internet servers. This is the similar story. What population projection? And this is the aspect that needs to frighten us, really. Okay. By 2100, this is Africa of today. By 2100, Africa is catching up. You see the gap here? Africa is catching up with Asia, meaning that most people in the world will have their base in Africa. And if we are not doing well today in terms of science lean development, we do not have the infrastructure for these people to settle in. I think your guess is mine what this will mean for our continent. Now, let's move from those to what we are all involved in: research, academia. And you can see this is a global trend in research, number of people available in research, and the expenditure of research and development as a percentage of GDP. The bigger you have the boxes, the more people you have in that country doing research. And the issue here is that no African country spends up to 1% of its GDP on scientific research. Madagascar spends 0.01%. South Africa spends 0.82% of its GDP on scientific research. Morocco has little over 1,000 researchers per 1 million inhabitants. Nigeria has 38 researchers per 1 million people living in the country. South Africa has 432 and Egypt 675. 80% of global research spending is accounted by 10 countries alone. 80% of global research. So it is no wonder that our societal development is where it is. And this is a sorry story. I've heard people say that even baby food, they need to import from the US. You can imagine. A story was told of a very wonderful tribe in Plateau, agriculture, and so on and so forth. But yet, we can import something like baby food from abroad. Why are we where we are today? You know, we can blame, say, external interference, internal complacency, corruption, bad government, no resources, no vision. But the question is, as a scientist, what is your contribution to our sorry state today? Are we sleeping? Are we not doing enough? Are we doing enough? I think these are some of the questions that concern us. No research, no nation building. Without value-oriented research, well-intentioned, with vision to solve problems, no nation can be built. Spend whatever you want to spend. Without research, there's nothing. And that is what I'm trying to make us believe. Those who find ourselves within the four walls of the university, you have to know that you are a strong custodian of what happens in the society. And if we don't take this seriously, our nation cannot change. Elect all the politicians you want to elect. Nations are not built by politicians. Nations are built by scientists and science and research. As African scientists, scientific strides fulfill its mandate to the African society? That is the question we need to ask. Question you need to ask, a question I need to ask myself. This is Times Higher Education ranking of universities in the world, 2021, where we are. And the first university in the world is University of Oxford. They ranked. I mean, there are several of these rankings from different organizations. But one thing I want to show is that the first African university that appeared on this list is 155th. That is University of Cape Town, okay, in South Africa. The second African university that appeared is between 201 and 250th one. That's the University of Witwatersrand, also in South Africa. The third university is in South Africa. The fourth university, African university, is in South Africa. And you wonder, is it the reason why South Africa is where it is today? What happened to other nations? Of the first best ranked universities in the world, 6 of them are in Asia. The 20th is in China. The 23rd is in China. The 25th is in Singapore. The 36th is in Tokyo. 39th is Hong Kong. And 47th is in Singapore. Why I have mentioned this is that many of these nations are nations that started at the same level, the same time with many African countries. But where they have reached, you can see there is a strong correlation of how your universities are doing and what development is happening in the society. And these rankings are based on 5 performance indicators: teaching, research, citations, international outlook, industry. Why the University of Cape Town is coming first here? Okay, South Africa University, this is what Times Higher Education provided. He said the University of Cape Town has topped a Times Higher Education snapshot ranking of the best universities in Africa, thanks to its highly cited research, a strong international outlook, an ability to attract large sums of money from industry. So if you want to put your university where it needs to be, if you want to do things that will change the narrative of the local environment and the nation, this is where we should go. Okay. The fact is, it is research and research and research. In fact, if you look at these 5 performance indicators, 4 of those are linked directly to research. Research, citation is research, international outlook has bearing to research, industrial income is research. Research, research, research. So if you want to be consumption of knowledge, no problem. But if you want to develop as a nation, you have to change the narrative and move from the trajectory of consumption to production, from stagnation to innovation. Do more research, and then we are competitive, and our nation will benefit from it. If we spend more research, development will follow. These are the top 15 research and development spenders in the world, from Korea to Czech Republic. The percentages inside represent what the private sector is contributing to research. That is, in Korea, 78% of research and development expenditure is coming from the private sector. In Nigeria, for instance, today, you have MTN, you have Glo, you have the Dangotes, you have NMPC, you have Shell, you have Chevron, you have all those. Those are private sectors. How much are they contributing to research? Many of them come to the nation, they sap the resources, and they take it out. In this part of the world I am, it cannot happen. And that is to show you what a private sector. The government provides the opportunity, the policies for private sector to know that they owe the society by supporting active research. This is the regional trends in share of world's researchers, and you can see Africa has remained the same level since early 2000, while some other parts of the world are growing, increasing. But what is the problem? It's an irony. Irony because this is the youngest continent in the world. 60% of African population is under 25 years. We have 30 million kilometers, square kilometers, which is more than US, Europe, China combined. So we have landscape. We have landscape to do whatever we want to do. 10% of the world oil output is in Africa. 90% of the world's platinum deposit is in Africa. 90% of the world's cobalt supply is in Africa. 50% of the world's global gold supply is in Africa. You can name it. You can name it, and you can name it. Okay. So where do we go from here? It's a complex question because we blame a lot of things, external interference, and so on and so forth. But the fact is that regardless of where you find yourself, without radical scientific innovation, discovery, and continuous research, it is difficult to make a headway. It is difficult to make a headway. Okay, so every societal development depends on research and science. The shoulders of African scientists is heavy, and I tell you it is heavy because that is where we need to go. So what is my proposal? I call it scientific revolution. We have had many revolutions in Africa: independence, political revolutions, social revolutions. One revolution has not happened in that continent, which is a revolution that happened in other continents that have risen, and that is scientific revolution. A radical change from the path we are in, and moving from knowledge consumption to knowledge production. We shouldn't be still in that mood that interventions come when bad things happen, then you see money come, and after that, everybody goes to sleep. There is need for continuous discovery, And we must Dr. Nande, I think you can mute people yourself. Dr. Nande, you can mute, you hear me? You can, yeah, please. Okay, so we depend so much on people outside, but I think we need to look inward. Africans must build Africa from within Africa. A cause for patriotism. Such revolution is not new. Talk about Singapore, where Singapore is today. Talk about India, talk about China, South Korea, where they have moved from today. Greg Mills says, poverty is now optional. So are stagnation and progress. They're optional. Nobody is destined for them. But there must be science contextualization. I can quickly go through this before our time. And COVID has shown us that interventions, development, innovation, creativity must come from within for it to work. The COVID has shown so much global politics, and today you see many countries are dealing with the vaccine, and it's really difficult for Africa to have any say in the global arena because we are not doing anything. We rely. So if everybody accepts the vaccine today, Africa will be the last to get it, and we keep struggling with that. It has shown us that we need to look for local solutions. The right condition anyway must be in place. The right government policies, adequately equipped infrastructures at universities, opportunities for continuous capacity building. Many who are working in universities today do not have the necessary skills. The institutions need to invest to give them the skills to make strides that will change the narrative. We need science leaders. We have had too much of managers, but too little leaders. We have to move away from competition to collaboration, because that is where it goes. We need wider societal support. We need adequate funding as well. Disruptive education system, we negate scientific progress. Strike here and there, we negate scientific progress. Societal instability will also directly affect any scientific endeavor. My take-home message is that Africa's developmental challenges are monumental. No doubt about that. Most regions and continents of the world have moved on and left us behind. Now it's time to find our voice and move forward. Science remains a custodian of solutions to the development of societies. For too long, African scientists have made little stride. We rely so much on external solutions, but it will take Africans building Africa for real Africa to have development. Wake-up call for us. Urgent need for scientific revolution, consensus African science, to make our voice heard, or prioritize research that show evidence for developmental successes. We have to have revolutionary mindset across all sectors. African scientists need the right environment, right infrastructures, right skills and capacities, and adequate funding. We have to blame ourselves if Africa fails. That is the point here. And just to quickly show, as a result of this, myself and my team, last year, we established this African Science Frontiers Initiative, and which is a platform for capacity building in Africa. And what we do is that we train African scientists. We train faculties in institutions. We organize courses. We train in science leadership, science communication. We mentor Africans. And our overarching goal is to contribute to Africa's path to development through helping African scientists develop their capacity. So our vision is to raise the next generation of African scientists with the right competencies to drive Africa's developmental and transformation agenda through innovative scientific research. And we have several mission aims there. And we organize seminars and workshops, hands-on courses, mentoring programs, and as well research. We have had 5 during the course of last year, high-powered courses in which we have trained over 400 African scientists free of charge up to this point. We have a 3-year agenda to provide free training before we decide on where to. And these have come from over 30 African countries. And now we have an advert that is out there on Art of Scientific Writing and Publishing, and doing it well. So this will be coming on the 13th to 17th of December. It's also free. We'll be admitting 100 participants, and the registration is still on. It will close on the 30th of November. These courses we have brought professors across the continent, senior lecturers, associate professors, PhD students. We are taking those with a minimum of masters who are pushing their PhD and upward. So those are the people we take into these trainings. So if you want to register, please take note of this. If anybody's interested, you can contact Dr. Nandi, and I can send the link to you. Several people have registered. Now you should have some days. So this is what we are doing. And the goal I have had here this afternoon or this evening is to motivate you that Africa has a long way to go, but there is hope, and that hope relies on those of us who derive our daily joy from doing research. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Dr. Nwaru. Yeah, and the talk was fantastic. As it was coming, I realized that we have a lot of responsibility hanging on our head. We have blamed the government for so long, and we need to know that we ourselves are to be blamed if Africa does not progress and or does not develop. So it's time for question. We do have one question there. I would want to ask Ozioma to unmute and ask your question. If any person that wants to talk can just raise up his hand, you can be asked to unmute. So Ozioma, you can unmute to ask your question if you are here.
Good evening, everyone.
Here?
Yeah, I'm with you here.
Okay. Yes.
Thank you for the presentation. It was a wonderful one and an eye-opener too to everyone. My question is this: how do we tend to bridge the gap between sensitizing the community, whom we are like the community, let's say people around us? Because like personally, I entered running a research, and then someone was asking me, do I really have the cash to pay people to pick their bloods for analysis? And then you found out that I'll be looking at something like more than 200, 300 samples of these bloods. And the intention was to like see people that have lived in that location for more than 15 years, so we can decipher the safety of living in those regions. And now, when you go to do this kind of research, and then you're not having this capacity to fund it alone, how do you tend to bridge this gap of communicating the individuals, the community residents, and then letting them know that yes, this thing that we're trying to do is not to do anything with their blood, or maybe with the cases of coronavirus and rituals and all of that. People are scared of you taking their samples for analysis. So how do we try to reconcile these things so that it could also help us serve the society and then do it in a better and quality manner?
That is very important question, and I don't think I have all the answers. For you as a scientist, you mentioned how to get money to do, because research requires money. I was happy with the platform I just showed to you now, African Science Frontiers Initiatives. We had a grant writing course this year, which I taught in May. And after that, I recruited about 34 of them into mentoring, those who want to apply for grants. And I'm happy to report that one of them today got a very high profile international grant today. And there are other stories that have come from there. So you need money to run research, but you also need skills to get that money, because that money is not your money, it belongs to somebody. And so you need to, the arena of getting grants is an arena of warfare. And so you need the skills to get the money from the pocket of somebody that is not yours. And that includes what you're going to do, how you have articulated what you're going to do, feasibility of what you're going to do. So that is on you as a researcher to develop the skills to be able to overcome that challenge. My experience with this platform I have initiated is that many Africans, regardless of the level of their career, the career they are, need the skills. And so we try to provide it for them. Now, moving from your scientific context into the community is something else. Like I've mentioned, science is there to solve societal problems, but we are not the lords of the society. We are scientists. The custodian of science is a society, because what we do eventually is to apply to make the society a better place. And so regardless of the training you have had, society is complex. There is level of humility that is required in reaching out there. There are many people in the society who have had different experiences from the action of researchers, And so going there, you need to have the tools as well to communicate. In this platform, we have what is called science communication, which is different from publishing your paper. This kind of communication is, how do you tell a story of what you're doing to the society in a way they understand and buy into that idea you are bringing on? You need to have those kind of skills. But there is another path that is also very important now, because what has happened is that scientists have always thought that the society doesn't know anything. Okay, so you just go there, you tell them, and you take something from them. No, the pathway we are going nowadays is, even when you start conceiving an idea of what you want to do, bring relevant stakeholders from the society into what you're doing. From the first path, it makes life easier when you begin to go into the society. There's already a group of people who have bought into this idea and able to help you to integrate. Let's not continue with that attitude that you go to a society, you pick people and you do what you want to do, then you go and publish it. No, if our goal is that after our findings, we'll go back to the site and apply it, then we need to bring them, carry them along from the beginning. That is the second thing I would say. The third thing is that regarding to money, yes, research requires money. Even here, I run my research. Of course, we do not pay people money to participate in the research. Sometimes there is need for that. But what happens is that we have over 7,000 people that come to our research. When they are coming, we support them with the transportation. Okay, they come for sometimes taking their samples, having clinical interviews. They can spend 3 hours. We provide them lunch. Okay, so if you have such kind of study, if you apply for funding, you should account for those in your listing. It makes the society know that they are important as well. So you don't just call them for 3 hours, they pay their transportation, then they go. So there is that aspect that you have to call it honorarium you give to people because they support your research. I don't know if this is helpful to the person who asked the question.
Yeah, it was really helpful. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you very much. Any other comments? Any other question? Okay, if we don't have, I want to recognize the presence of Professor John Nwaru. Professor John Nwaru is the Dean, Faculty of Health Sciences, Plateau State University. I don't know if he will be able to just give us a goodwill message before we just call it a day. Prof Nwaru. Prof Nwaru. Okay, I think he's quite busy. Okay, so I want to thank everyone for your time and your.
Thank you very much. It was very exciting.
Yeah, so we want to call it a day. So Prof. Nwaru, thank you very much for your time, and we'll keep getting back to you. Okay, Professor Nwaru is around. So Professor Nwaru, could you just a word of yes?
Actually, sorry I joined late, but actually it is highly enlightening, and I want to appreciate the speaker for this elaborate lecture or teaching. I believe if we continue to collaborate with him, it will widen our horizon in the field of research. I will encourage everybody to always take this opportunity, because it's, if we are to pay him, I don't think we'll be able to afford the money to pay for this training. So once more, we appreciate the guest speaker for this presentation. And I wish everybody well in his area of research. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prof. Nwaru, for that goodwill message. So, Prof, want to thank you. We'll get back to you more to find ways we can to benefit from your foundation and how we can get more from that. I've been able to post the writing workshop to the platform. I'm sure some people will post, will start registering from today. Thank you very much, and I think we'll have to call it a day after now.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
God bless.
Yes. Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.